welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charny, James, the Fattman Stevens. Hello. And to round out the trifecta, Rob, the old guy.
You're listening to the Rob Charny Show.
Yeah, I'm here.
So as is the MadTrio tradition, we're bringing out the dead. And one of my all-time favorite actresses, who's been in multiple movies and TV series that I've loved, Angela Lansbury, has passed away. First time I saw her was probably Bedknobs and Broomsticks, actually. One of my all-time favorite Disney cartoons.
Yeah, that was probably out for like at least 40 years before you were born, John.
I think it came out in 77? It came out in the 70s, so it was fairly new when I was born, at least 6 years old. Harry Potter legend Robbie Coltrane has died at 72. He played Hagrid, if that's the character's name.
Okay.
That's what the press release said, Hagrid.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you.
To some of my friends who really love that movie or book, I've read it a long time ago and seen it a long time ago. Do not remember.
How old was he?
72. Angela Lansbury was 94.
Oh, I thought she said. Yeah, I knew Angela Lansbury was old, but I didn't know how old the guy who played Hagrid was.
I don't see anything.
Isn't old to me anymore.
No, that's like what? Right around the corner?
Right around the corner. It's, yeah.
As my grandfather would say, that's around Robin Hood's barn.
Probably true.
And
I still keep looking for it.
Duck for arrows. And one of the strangest headlines I've read this year, and I still don't believe I'm saying this. This is from iflscience.com. In 1984, scientists ate a 50,000-year-old bison in a stew. The meal was described as having a strong something aroma. It has too many vowels. But so basically, let's see, where is it? After its death, it meant
what
that
they do? They took a piece of meat that was frozen in the ground for 60,000 years, and they go, "Hey, this is a good idea. Let's thaw it and throw it in a stew."
So pretty much what happened, pretty much what it was is the meat, it was frozen solid type of thing. So the meat was, as some guy said, it was well aged, and they put it into a stew. There's so much more to this story that I just. As for why opting for
read the headlines.
So as for why opting for the stew, making next stew didn't sound like a very good idea, Guthrie told Atlas Obscura. But you know what we could do is put in a lot of vegetables and spices, and it wouldn't be too bad. A bit of culinary wizardry may have rescued the flavor, but nothing could be done to revive the content of Blue Babe's abdomen, which had evidently spoiled before the animals first frozen all those 10,000s of years ago. So.
Boy.
They had the ultimate aged meat. What do you think, James, as somebody who's in that profession? The cooking, not the science.
Yeah, I would guess so. I don't think I would eat that, though. Just putting it out there. I don't think I would want to eat that.
I would say, as James, if James wouldn't eat that, I'd take that as good advice, considering some of the stuff I've heard and or seen him eat. So.
Yeah, I would just pass.
It's kind of like, it's one of those things they do that just to say they've done it, right? You just kind of stick this meat in the stew and say, hey, why else would you do it? It makes no sense.
Were they bored?
Balut, which is the fermented duck fetus.
Yeah.
You've had it?
Oh yeah, I've had it. It's not bad. It's like an overcooked hard-boiled egg, and overgrown as well.
That's gross.
Yeah, it just wasn't. I mean, I like it better than Vegemite or Marmite, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's.
So.
What do you compare that to?
Like I said, a hard-boiled egg. Anyways,
with feathers.
I just don't see a point in eating that, other than, as Rob said, just to say I've eaten.
Yeah,
to say
I
I've
mean,
eaten that.
I've eaten that. That's about it.
I have to say, you'd be hard pressed to ever find somebody who beat that, though. It's like,
To
they
beat
had,
that, I mean, as far as the oldest, most aged
yeah.
meat,
Well, like
meat
somebody
in
said,
existence, you're right.
somebody said, I had golden caviar. Oh yeah, I ate something that was 50,000 years old. I mean, that's kind of the ultimate dumb flex.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, let's one up you. I got one for you.
So, did you know Cookie Monster had a name,
What?
James? Cookie Monster has a name.
No.
It's Sid.
Yeah, Cookie. Oh,
It's Sid, the Cookie Monster. That's
right.
it. I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Like, who bothered to name it? Other than his creators, I just, huh? So, John,
Uh-oh.
when you started playing the Elder Scroll games, did you ever think that you wanted to have a summonable Deidre who can order you a pizza in real life?
I never, not only did I never thought that was something I wanted, I didn't know that was something that was possible. That's
Well, it is possible. So, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion got a new mod where there is a summonable Deidre that can actually order you a pizza in real life. So you can summon him in the middle of the game. The mod is called Nikki's Pizza Oblivion. And it's through Nexus Mods. And as you set it up, guess what you also have to do as you set it up?
what do you have to
You
do?
have to put your credit card into the mod when you download it. And so yeah, it's a pizza.py file. And that's where you put your credit card information.
I
don't
don't.
think I actually would trust that. That sounds sketchy.
Yeah.
So,
Who
so
knows
put
who's
your
going to get that credit
details
card?
in there, and it's got a pre-programmed, the usual, which is a 12-inch thin crust pizza, garlic bread and twist, and a bottle of fused lemon tea. But you can also, I guess, go in there and change that to something that you really want. But I thought that was an interesting idea.
Well, I oddly
wouldn't
have a
trust it.
recommendation if you guys are going to do this is find a credit card that actually has a virtual credit card. I have a Capital One card I just discovered that has virtual cards for the internet. It's not your actual number, so you can change it too.
Huh.
I still don't know if I would be willing to summon pizzas because knowing my luck, I'd run up a bill just screwing with the dumb thing, not trying to get it to work.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see you do that.
So,
anyways, yeah, I found that as I was scrolling through a bunch of stuff that you can order a pizza
that's hilarious.
online through your game. You can just summon a creature in your game and then order it. I thought that was pretty genius idea, and then I started reading it and I'm like, that's just a little sketchy for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's for all the people, for all those guys, play games. They have to sit on the toilet at the same time as they're playing the game. And this way, they don't even have to get up. Might as well give them the key to your house too. Let them just come in and deliver it right to you.
There's an idea.
I mean, if you're gonna go that far, let's go all the way.
Now, there are some people that I'm sure would be okay with letting random people come in to drop off their pizzas.
Yeah, so they don't have to even get up and answer their door.
So talk about random people. This is from October 5th. So a gentleman who ran the field during a Los Angeles Rams and 49ers game filed a police report. This gentleman was a protester protesting animal rights and pigs and factory farms. The gentleman was tackled severely by a player. He's filed a police report against the player. And the players basically said, "Hey, do something stupid,"
Yeah.
Well, the guy, he was tackled by one of the players, and then another player from the other team, and I can't tell you what the member's name is, one of the teams. But anyway, he tackled him. And so now the guy got upset. My understanding from this is that the guy got upset that he wanted the player to be arrested for assault. So you trespass. So you're breaking the law right off the bat. And then, you're jumping around on a football field with a bunch of guys who crash into each other for a living. And you expect to get away scot-free. And then when you get tackled and, you may have been hurt, you want law enforcement to arrest that person for assault. And now you want to go ahead and sue them. So, yeah.
You're missing the part where these guys. You're missing the part where these guys actually love hurting each other too. It's fun for them.
Well,
it's.
Go ahead, defend them, James. Go ahead.
No, I'm
Come on,
just
go,
like,
go.
I kind of sit there and I'm like, you do something stupid, you're bad. You're
gonna pay the price somehow.
Stupidity should be painful, is what I kind of think.
There you go.
For most things, and for the most part, it's really not. So, the guy's lucky that he didn't get his spine snapped. Obviously, the player held back. I don't know. How injured did he have been?
I'm waiting to a couple of years from now. He's going to be on one of these talking head shows talking about something, and somebody's going to ask him, "Hey, you've played football, right?" And, no, I was tackled. I just think that's hilarious. So
as he's running around with pink smoke, by the way, he was holding a pink smoke thing, and it's just like, oh my goodness.
I actually thought that was funny. I was kind of wondering, is he a Niners fan? And then I was reading more into it. It's like, oh, okay. So I love audiophiles because the sheer amount of stupid stuff for audiophiles is hilarious. Like at one point, somebody was selling $500 oak knobs for your stereo that's supposed to help affect the quality of the sound. And I recently saw a YouTube video by a gentleman by the name of Technomone that helped demagnetize CDs.
I like that.
He bought it just like, okay, let's see what it does. And, he quote unquote demagnetized it, air quotes there, a couple of times, ran it through a recorder and then matched non-magnetized versus demagnetized through an audio system, and it didn't show any difference. And it's
I wonder why.
I wonder why that happened.
The magnet was so.
How could that not?
The magnet was so underpowered it couldn't even erase a cassette tape.
Well,
okay, wait.
You do understand that there is no magnetic parts in a CD.
Thank you, Rob.
Well,
There's no tape in it. It's not a magnetic tape that you could erase. Oh, good grief.
Well, so apparently the so-called science behind it was something to do with the metal that's actually made of, because I think inside the CD itself, I think it's aluminum, which, by the way, is non-ferrous. I was trying to figure that out.
Exactly. It's non-magnetic.
And so the whole thing...
It is aluminum. It's dumb. The whole thing is just a gag.
Well, yeah, it was hilarious, but they actually had he found an article from one of these audiophile mags that talked about how amazing it was. And another one to talk about how ridiculous it is, another episode I watched, he found something that was for CDs that actually put a chamfer on the bottom part of the edge of the CD. So it put like a 45-degree cut. So basically, imagine there's a little spindle, you put the CD on, and there's a little knife at like a 45-degree angle that actually cuts a minor like chamfer on the bottom side of the CD, because it's supposed to improve the audio quality. And just to make sure that you don't screw up your CD, it comes with a marker, so you're supposed to like black out the part you cut. And this is why I love audiophiles, like, because some audiophile spent like $700 on it, expecting it to make a difference to a CD.
Hey, that's the old "there's a sucker born every minute" type of thing. Where if you can, take an X-Acto knife and make some kind of 2-cent contraption to make people believe that this will actually do something, and you get $700 for it. More power to you.
My
So,
favorite
wait a
part now
minute.
that
My thing is like, so we're purposely scratching CDs now.
Yep. And by the way, this was from the 90s or the aughts, towards I think this was the height of CDs. And my favorite thing now is since records are actually making a comeback, some of the old gags they used to pull are coming back. I've seen everything from, like metal mats for your record player. I saw this is supposed to be a special balancing table you put on top of your table that's supposed to help minimize movement. But if you'd actually take a look at it, it's just a big like square box with feet on it. I love this. I've been trying to figure out, okay, how can I make money out of something stupid? I want my pet rock. I just got to figure out how do I market it to these people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's somebody out there, John. I'm sure you'll find somebody and something.
There's got to be. I mean, I kind of missed out on the oak knobs. Improve your sound. These $250 solid oak knobs will help improve your audio. Don't know how, but
Okay, you get a better signal through the air for something.
Yeah, I'm just
wooden knobs. I like that.
I'm just still like baffled by the guy who tried to magnetize his CD.
he
Or
tried to
demagnetize his CD.
Yeah.
Well, so this guy by the
Either
name,
or, who cares, right?
he's an English guy by the name of Technomone. So he bought it. He knew it was a joke, but he's like, let's see. This could be a good gag for YouTube. And it was, because it was hilarious. Because he's like, well, it's not doing anything. Shocking.
Well, of course it's not doing anything.
I just thought I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. So
yeah. Anyways,
so I got an interesting story. This is from Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. This is via Facebook, by the way, if you guys want to see it. On October 19th, 2022, approximately 7:30 hours, LA County Sheriff, Narcotics Bureau, detectives, and drug enforcement agencies assigned to a task force at the LAX seized approximately 12,000 suspicious fentanyl pills. The suspected attempt to go through TSA screening with several bags of candy. And if you take a look at it, these candy boxes and wrappers are completely filled with fentanyl pills.
Jeez. How old was the kid again?
There's no kid. It doesn't say kid. It just says these. So I'm assuming if there was a kid, they didn't mention it. But yeah, this person just had a bunch of candy wrappers. Like there's Skittles, there's Sweet Tarts, there's Whoppers. That would have been the first thing something's up, especially as a kid. I haven't seen a kid who likes Whoppers in my lifetime.
I like Whoppers.
You're not a kid. It's like Necco wafers. If you see a young kid with a Necco wafer, something's wrong.
Yeah, it just means his dad or his grandfather or his great-great-grandfather introduced it to him. That's all.
Yeah.
And this,
like you with peanuts.
This has the standard thing of, have your parents look through all your kids' candy, which I always thought was a joke until all of a sudden there's mass amounts of fentanyl pills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even funny, unfortunately.
No, I was.
No, it's not. That's
I was.
jacked up.
I was surprised, and however they did it, it looks factory sealed. I'm actually thoroughly impressed by the amount of deviousness that went through it.
Yeah.
So I got more stories if you guys don't.
I have a listicle,
Okay.
so whenever you want to get to it.
But I got two really quick, and let's do the listicle. One,
problem.
Bill Murray's finally getting canceled. Not a shock. Urza Miller, the former Flash of the MCU, will possibly get 26 years in jail for all of his shenanigans over the last year. That's it.
Wow.
How many? 20?
26.
Oh, 26.
He's done. I've been following his escapades, and he officially got thrown out of the Flash as the Flash. Or so.
It does make you wonder about some of these celebrities that are making, anywhere from 30,000 an episode to, hundreds of thousands an episode. And they go out and they do stupid shit.
Yeah.
And, and they make all this money to be an actor that all these people that are, starving actors would love to have. And they go out and do something stupid.
I have a
multiple stupid things.
I have a feeling Urza Miller. I have a feeling they had a lot of other issues. I heard somebody saying, I'm butchering the quote, that the only thing money does is magnify your issues. Like if you're insert thing here, it's going to make insert thing here 10 times as worse. So I have a feeling that didn't help them.
That's true. And you may that does actually. I like that quote because that's probably very true to a degree. But fame, where it's money, it's fame to a certain degree. We'll do that to people.
Because you always hear like Richard Dean Anderson. I've heard from multiple people that he's a giant jackass, and but maybe before he became famous, he was a nice guy until he got the biggest TV show of the '80s.
That's the old thing of fame kind of going to your own head there instead of being humble. Some of these people get arrogant. Like what was it? What's his name? James Corden.
Oh yeah, he got kicked out of a restaurant.
Banned from a restaurant. Not even kicked out, but banned from a restaurant. Ever coming back, and it's a very high-end restaurant somewhere in New York. And apparently, he was just extremely rude and horrible, and mean to the servers. And I mean, apparently, just a terrible person.
Question:
he gets banned, and then all of a sudden now
who is he?
Oh, yeah, I can understand that because I can't come to the exact answer yet anyway, other than he does karaoke. He's famous
he's
for
carpool karaoke guy.
That's it, carpool karaoke. I couldn't come up with the name. Yeah,
is he a late night talk show host?
Yes, and he was a late night talk show host as well. But anyway, he's British. And I don't know. He's apologized for it. It's just, let's just try to be nice people, everybody, while you have the opportunity to, instead of having to go out and apologize for not being such a nice person.
I think there's a sheer amount of disrespect. I think today's society does not have the amount of respect they used to have, and I kind of agree with what Ryan said before about the Mike Tyson quote of everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. There's lack of I think the internet caused it, because when I was a kid and when the old guy was a kid, if you talked a lot of shit, you did something like that, there was a good chance you're going to get something in the face instead of
you're going to get consequences.
So
in this guy's case, that he was an asshole. He probably figured he was. Yeah, okay. I'm going to say one caveat to that. Maybe alcohol was involved with it. And we've all known people that can be absolutely very nice people. You give them some alcohol and all of a sudden they become raging assholes. And maybe that was the case. I don't know. Not to give them an excuse, but it happens. So
I don't know if isn't an excuse as much of it was the result of. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. The other question is I haven't been around enough drunks to enough time to realize, because I know people that say the drunk version of you is the real you versus the.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, because I've known people that go either way, and either they're sloppy drunks where they love everybody and love you, man, you're just great, to being absolute assholes. And it can go both ways. And I'm not sure that's the real person per se. It's just alcohol tends to just hit those synapses in a particular way that fires wrong. So, just my opinion.
All right, hold on. Melanie, this listicle is for you. But before the listicle, you need to pay attention to this.
Today's show is brought to you by
Audacity.
The game where dignity is overrated. Go to ODDASSITY.com. That's ODDASSITY.com. Pick up a card game from this website or selected stores. That's Audacity, the unforgettable party game for mischievous people.
That's it.
Commenced listicle.
Listicle. So I have this list is something that we can carry on for the next few shows. It's called The More You Know. And it's things like, okay, so like the very first one is you can't tickle yourself. So possibly you just can't tickle yourself. So, okay, nice to know.
Is it true?
Hunting unicorns is legal in Michigan. I love that. Some law somewhere in Michigan, somebody said, oh, okay, let's hunt the unicorns. A laughing epidemic made 14 schools close in East Africa. In Utah,
a laughing epidemic?
Yeah, a laughing epidemic. Just,
Wow.
In Utah, birds have the right of way on a highway. Oh, so I guess if you run over a bird in Utah, you might get a ticket. Russia, you can get fined for driving a car that's too dirty.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A cat named Stubbs was an honorary mayor like mayor of Alaska. Honorary mayor in Alaska. It's okay, Scrubs. That was nice. Didn't say what town, though. Number 7 is NASA saw 168 errors in the space film Armageddon.
That's it?
Just keeping track of that kind of stuff. That's kind of weird.
That seems awfully low.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. That's all.
The number 8, vending machines are bigger threats to humanity than sharks. I believe that one.
So I got a little bit of information. So how Mayor Stubbs, the cat, held one Alaskan town office for 20 years. So he was not only the mayor, he was the mayor for 20 years.
20 years. Which town? Can you name it?
I can spell it.
Oh, all right, never mind. It's not important.
It's a Talkeetna, Talkeetna.
Talkeetna. So it's an indigenous name. Okay, cool. So good for Stubbs. So the vending machines mean bigger threats to humanity than sharks. That's probably true.
Are we talking about people getting their hands stuck in them or falling on them?
Probably all of the above. Right? I mean, how many... You're going to encounter a vending machine a lot more often than you ever will a shark. If I've ever, right? I swam in the ocean for 20 years and I never once encountered a shark.
I can't wait to see that headline. An epidemic of deaths from Coca-Cola machines.
Vending machines. Oh, true.
Dr. Pepper does not care about your health.
I actually think I've seen that headline.
Care about your stinking vending machine. Okay.
Royal Cola, the cola that kills.
Number 9 is only owning one guinea pig is illegal in Switzerland.
I've heard that.
Gotta have them in pairs. Can't have just one. You'd be lonely.
I'm sorry, one guinea pig's enough, and I don't want two.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'll end the last one, which probably I'll start next week with the first one. It's the same thing. Someone actually paid $10,000 for invisible artwork.
For what?
Invisible artwork.
I can make some of that.
Yeah.
Me too. But see, the silly part of the whole thing is somebody actually paid that. Here's an empty frame. Here's your invisible artwork.
See, here what bugs me is the fact that depending on how the contract was signed, that was not illegal. I mean, that's ingenious.
If it's listed like in an auction or something, it's listed as invisible artwork. There it is. It's invisible. Prove otherwise.
That's pet rock territory. That's Banksy. Yeah. When somebody bought...
you go.
What's that?
That's it, Jonathan. You can make all this invisible artwork. Make a fortune off of it.
Yeah.
You know what? That would be a pretty funny gag. You go to one of these fancy guys and say, "Yeah, my style's like a Rembrandt, cross with this and cross with that." And then, you go to a showing and it's just all white walls. Can't you see? This is amazing. And you hire your friends just to stand there and go, oh, you see this?
Oh my gosh. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, good idea. That could be the next scam for you.
But the question is, it has to be something people willingly pay for that can't get you in trouble. Like the pet rock. It's stupid, but made a shit ton of money.
True.
Yeah, Pet Rock was very clever. And a lot of people bought him simply because the person who invented it was very clever coming up with it. And person they started using that Pet Rock to hide their keys for getting in their house, and you put your Pet Rock around all the rest of the rocks and put your key underneath it and you're all set.
Except for, other people could figure that out.
Yeah, well, it's like hiding your key under the
Hey,
doormat.
isn't that a cute googly-eyed freaking rock right there? Let me just pick there's a key.
Oh,
I wonder what this goes to. This really nice house right here with nobody home.
That's right.
I wonder what they have inside.
Let's find out. So
Yeah.
there you go. So that's my listicle for the more you know.
So I got a listicle from the producer, so I'm just going to go through it real quick. It's 30 facts that will overwhelm you with 1980s nostalgia. By the way, nostalgia never overwhelms. I'm hardly whelmed. A billion people tuned in to see Prince Charles and Lady Diana get married. Apparently there was a lack of true entertainment in the 1980s.
No, I watched it. It was just something to do.
Hey, look at all those rich folks do, huh? Is he related to her? The first commercial U.S. cell phone weighed
Not
2
with those
pounds.
teeth. Huh?
The what?
The first
commercial
U.S. cell
cell
phone weighed 2 pounds.
Okay, I can accept that.
A custom agent seized 20,000 counterfeit Cabbage Patch dolls in 1984.
I believe that.
Hey, those Cabbage Patch dolls were all the rage for the kids, and people were fighting over them during that Christmas when they first came out. It was really the dumbest thing I'd seen in a while at that time.
You didn't have to buckle up until 1984.
Yeah, I always believed that was
is
just
true.
to generate revenue.
As crazy as it may sound, you weren't legally
Oh, the
required to use your seatbelt in a
seatbelt?
car until 84.
Well, if you didn't buckle up, you could get a ticket for it. So a lot of areas I truly believed were giving tickets for that. It was a great revenue generator or a great prequel for pulling somebody over. You had to have probable cause, and that was good enough to stop somebody. You don't have your seatbelt on. We're going to pull you over.
If there's records out there, if they kept records of arrests and people of color, I'd be curious how many of those stops back in the day in the 80s actually started with, seatbelts turned into something big.
No, I'm sure there were a number of them. Yeah. No different than saying, your taillight was out when the cop was walking up to your car and he took his nightstick and broke the plastic lens.
Did that actually happen?
Hey, your taillight's out. That supposedly did. Yeah.
Candy bars.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I've never seen that actually happening. But supposedly, yeah.
Candy bars only cost 25 cents. I do not remember this.
What was it? Starting on the
candy bars only cost 25 cents.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
When? What year? Is it a particular year? I mean,
it just says 80s. I just don't remember candy bars.
80s. Oh, this is all over 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, oh God, this is disgusting even saying this. Olivia Newton-John's Physical was the decade's most popular song. No account for taste. Michael Jackson was the most... What's that?
10 years of the 80s, that was the number one song?
According to this, you could hardly turn on the radio, go to a mall, or tune into MTV without hearing or seeing Olivia Newton-John's hit song, Physical. In fact, 1981 tune was the year's most popular song, spending 10 weeks atop the Billboard Hot 100, beating out Kim Kardashian. I'm not even going to read the rest.
10 years. All right, go ahead.
And Michael Jackson was the decade's most popular artist. That's not a surprise. He was the 80s, musically, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Game Boy only had 5 games. United States. Top Gun won an Academy Award. The personal computer was the machine of the year. Let's see out. Let's see if I can do a couple more. Oh, here's a kick in the pants. The average house home price in 1985 was under $100K. Yet you probably had 12% interest rates.
Yeah. So, what are you complaining about, John?
As somebody who's trying to sell a home, I have the right to complain.
Under $100,000. So what's the average home price today?
In California, it's like 500,000.
400,000? 400,000 or 500,000?
Depends what part of the country you're talking about.
Average California is that. Let's see. Let's go say 1984. $100,000 home. Adjusted for inflation for 1984 to 2022, that's $272,805. So home prices have more than doubled.
Okay, so LA, 816,000 is average. San Diego, 800,000. Sacramento, 440,000. So I was kind of right for our area. It was 400,000.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, it does depend on the area. I'm surprised they don't have Bay Area. I'm curious about Bay Area.
$1 million.
Talk about million. 83 people tuned in to find out who shot JR.
True. You know, it's very interesting, the whole Dallas phenomena, the TV series Dallas. I'm not sure 100% what. So I never really watched daytime soap operas, and it was always spoken as to the primetime show Dallas was kind of like a primetime show,
soap opera,
kind of like it's hard to explain what it was like, but you tuned in because you always wanted to know what the next thing, what's going on, what's going to happen to the next one. And,
so it's basically how soap operas catch you. It's you want to see what the next.
I guess, yeah. So that's what it was. It was a primetime soap opera, and it's very interesting. I was as interested as anybody back then to see who killed JR.
The 80s infomercial industry spawned massive windfalls. I miss infomercials. There's an art to a good infomercial.
See, it goes to show you there's always one.
Yeah, I'm the one. I also like polka, Dancing in the Rain.
Mariachi music.
Ronald Reagan had headlines for misquoting John Adams.
Okay. Politicians misquote all the time. What's the big deal?
I think that was an age crack in the fact he was declining.
Yeah. Ronnie was he was a damn good president as far as I was concerned. I didn't always agree with him, but he was very presidential.
I know a few people who would fight you for that comment.
That's fine. They're welcome to.
Of course, they're going to beat up an elderly person. That's cruel.
Right. They're going to get arrested for assaulting a senior.
So come on.
Is that all the list?
That's all the list.
Uh,
Come on, one of you guys got to.
Really have much,
It's very slow news day.
Yeah, it's been a really slow news week, actually.
So Great Britain has. Poor Great Britain, they've got kind of a shitstorm going on there with their prime minister having to resign. I think she holds the record as the shortest reigning prime minister ever in Great Britain.
Like 25 days?
Yeah, was it even that? I don't know, 3 weeks, I think, is whatever that is.
Damn.
Like that. Yeah, pretty bad.
Wait, hold on. I've got
Poor Britain. What?
Had a sound effect for that.
Oh. Should have warned you. Get that sound effect ready.
Yeah.
Darn. So yeah, they've certainly had a bit of a problem over there.
Well, I mean, like, how bad could they be?
Well, they're having their share of economic problems, and part of it was she's part of the Conservative Party over there, and they, she ran on the fact that she was going to help turn things around and make all these promises like politicians tend to do worldwide, just not here in the United States, and say, hey, look, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna put a chicken in every pot and a car in every garage type of thing, and it just, she wasn't anything. So it says here, I was looking up the top 5 shortest serving British prime ministers. She served 44 days, so it was longer than I thought.
Oh, 44 days.
44, yeah.
So just over
George
4
Canning.
weeks.
Yeah, right. So 44 days, and then the next one, a gentleman by the name of George Canning, 119 days. The Viscount Godrich, 144 days. Bonar Law. That's an interesting name. 211 days, and that was in 1922. I guess I should have said the years. And the Duke of Donvershire. Okay. 225 days in 1756. So, I mean, if you look at it, so Liz Truss served 44 days in 2022. The next shortest was George Canning back in 1827. Then it went to 1827 twice. So there was basically 3 prime ministers in 1827. So what was going on in 1827? They obviously... Oh, one died and then the other one was placed. Okay. And so, then I got a little 22. Yeah, go ahead.
Got a little background. This is from CNN Insider, or CNN Business. A week ago, the Bank of England took a stab in the dark. It raised interest rates by a relatively modest 0.5 point to tackle inflation. It couldn't know the scale of the storm that was about to break. Less than 24 hours, the government's new UK Prime Minister, Liz Truss, and is that her actual name or is it Elizabeth?
Yeah.
It's Liz?
Well, I don't know. It could be.
Unveiled its plan for the biggest tax cut in 50 years, going all out for economic growth, but blowing a huge hole in the nation's finances. So basically, the pound crashed a record low against the U.S. dollar. So I guess they're having massive issues currently, just for a little background on why she was ousted or left.
Gee, maybe now's the time to go to England. Our dollars can go further.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Is it when we were there in 1999? I don't know. It was ridiculous. I mean, the pound is really strong.
It was like
a lot.
I think it was like for every $1, it was like 2.5 to 3 pounds for $1 US. It's like going to Canada. It's like going to Canada as American, because it's like 2 to 1 for every $1 American dollar. It was 2 UK. It was like a toonie to $1.
Yeah. Anyway, book that flight. Let's go right now.
I'm not in the mood for a 12-hour flight.
So interesting. So more than 30 drivers got stuck along the 405 freeway in Southern California with flat tires.
No, I saw that. Did they ever figure out what they ran over?
They're still believing that it was a wooden box of nails falling off a truck. But yeah, that's got to really suck for freaking morning traffic in LA.
So
boy, no kidding.
So apparently, terrorists now, how do you stop LA completely? Just drop boxes of nails.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 drivers. So that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. I'd be pissed if I was one of those.
Yeah, I would be too.
So how long do you think it takes to change a tire on the 405 if it doesn't kill you normally?
Well, just think how many calls went out to AAA right then.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at that point, you just kind of like go from one car to the next as you get it done.
Yeah.
There's somebody a couple of miles away waiting 45 minutes to an hour just for a tire change.
Yeah, think about this too, and I bet it was more than one tire flat.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There's the problem. You only have one spare. Some cars have spares, some don't. My Corvette doesn't come with a spare.
Oh, does your Corvette come with that that slime thrower?
What's a slime thrower?
So my car came from the factory. Since it's a 2018 car, it doesn't come with a spare tire. However, it comes with like that shit you put in kids' tires, like that run flat green slime.
Well, yeah, my tires are run flat, so theoretically I could limp to a tire store.
Oh,
I can't imagine what happens when all 4 of your tires are flat.
The only reason I ask is I talked to a guy at a tire store about it, and he said, by the way, if you ever want to piss off the person who's replacing your tires, put that shit in your tire. Because the guy was saying he said it's an absolute nightmare to actually get off your tire. He said it's incredibly difficult. And so I just think it'd be funny if it came from the factory with, the factory really expensive rims, and the guy's having to like scrape off the slimy crap.
Oh, no, that's not the case with these anyway. At least not with mine. They're actual run flats, but when you're talking about over $1,000 a tire, they damn well better be run flats without green slime.
I was gonna say for the slime thrower with mine, the only good thing about it, it also works as an air compressor. It's really slow, but you can pump up a tire. It may take you a half an hour to do so, though.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway,
off-roading vandals have destroyed the Terra Largo golf course a second time in 2 months, causing at least $5,000 in damage each time.
Is that Trump's golf course?
Yeah, I think it is.
Mar-a-Lago?
I thought that was Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, Mar-a-Lago, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right with Mar-a-Lago, yeah.
Okay.
No, this is the one in Southern California. Yeah, there's some guys that apparently are out in the dunes coming over and attacking the golf course.
Did they say why, besides their incredible waste of water?
No. Yeah, there's one of the guys that keeps fixing it is saying, like, I just don't understand why. I don't understand why they're coming over here and doing it.
Because I could see...
Yeah, that's gotta suck.
I can see, because they're an incredible waste of water. I know one of the big golf courses by us is attached to a housing development, and I've heard through the grapevine that it's watered via gray water from the community. But I am surprised there hasn't been a call to abandon golf courses by Governor Newsom.
No, because he uses them. It's like when he went to the can't think of the name of it.
French Laundry?
French Laundry. Yeah, he couldn't have that place closed because he goes there.
That's right.
Because
heaven forbid.
He can't have golf courses closed.
Because there are.
Jeez.
I have heard
Use your brain.
I've heard some minor calls from the plebeians and some of the people in government about telling some of these farmers you're going to have to find other means of water, considering agriculture takes up a giant percentage of water usage in California. And for some reason, we're in the middle of a drought, like the rest of the world, apparently.
Well,
not the rest of the world. Some parts have too much.
Like Louisiana, they just found a boat that was sunk in the 19th century. And no, jackasses, that's not 1981.
Well, I'm still thinking like we need to be conserving water and not sending it to Southern California, and they need to dam up that freaking LA River.
You know, it's funny. I always say this, but I think it's true. I'm 100% for green stuff if it makes sense and it's convenient. Like I remember when that veggie fuel was really popular. You know, you could make corn oil, you could make diesel from corn, and the only way to do it would you had to go to some guy's barn to do it. Nobody's going to do that. You just have to figure out a way to make it convenient. That's why I don't think electric cars are going to be the in thing until they force you to do it.
Well, California's doing that.
They are. But then I read something, a couple of things. One, I should have saved the article. They're talking about putting a mandatory kill switch in cars. And under the last major power issue California had, they put on Teslas, hey, do not charge your car. I'm wondering, by the way, put on your tinfoil hat, how much control will they have of our ability to get around if they have the ability to kill your car, force you not to charge it, etc.? I mean, that's kind of scary.
Well, it was pretty crazy to me when the governor of California comes out and so it makes it and so that what is it 2035 no gasoline powered automobiles are supposed to be able to be sold new.
Yep.
Gasoline automobiles, they have to be all electric.
Yep.
And then a week later, the statement came out, by the way, we don't want anybody charging their cars at night because it's too much of a drain on the power grid. It's like, well, can you imagine what that drain's going to be when everybody has electric cars and you got to plug those suckers in?
Yeah.
But then now you're telling us we can't plug them in at night?
Yep.
What?
I don't know if I mentioned this on the last show we did, but I did read something. Some of these chargers have an off-peak mode. Basically, only charge when the electrical load is the least. And this guy was talking about the problem with that is those chargers are never going to charge then, because once everybody puts this mode on, everybody's going to be charging. There's never going to be an off-peak time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. There'll never be an off-peak time. I don't know.
And
it's crazy.
I don't know. I think it's weird. Like I'm 100% for green stuff, but even solar panels have issues. I don't know if they've changed since the last time I looked in this, but I've heard they don't recycle very well. Same thing with lithium ion, which right now is the battery of choice because nobody's figured out how to actually make a
so
that
an
works.
article that I read during the week about lithium and the way it's used in batteries that apparently there is like in many things there is a way to recycle that lithium, but it's not cost effective. So there are ways of doing things, but it's cheaper to dig it new out of the ground. At some point when there's just no more reserves, they might be going, gosh, I sure wish we had all that lithium. And
I'm curious about that. Like, is it like a 2-for-1? Like you get
maybe.
It's not. I guess
Honest to God, it didn't give the details. That it didn't really get into scientific. How do you truly recycle it? It's a trade secret thing.
And what I mean by 2-for-1, like for every 2 batteries, do you get 1 battery out of it? Like I'm curious because there's got to be some waste in the process.
I would think so.
I don't know. I just think there's got to be a way to do this. I was hearing. I wonder if it's going to be more common to see solar panels all over the place. Like, are people going to have like a solar panel chargers? Because like right now, there's like only new construction and people who are willing to risk, or going to be in their home. Like we were going to consider putting it on our house, but it's like the only way to make your money back is like 15 to 20 years.
Jeez.
And it's still not really great economic value wise, in my opinion.
No, of course not. It's not going to be for a long time, but I mean that's just kind of the way of the future, John.
And then when I talk,
step into the future.
No, damn it! I'll have my record player and 8-track. When I talked to the guy for solar, he said, "So how much is your bill?" It's like, "Oh, we'll try to match that." I said, "No." It's like, "What? I want you to load the motherfucker up. I don't want. If my bill's $200, I don't want $200 worth of generating. I want to make so much power. I'm going to be free for the next 20 years because that's how much it's going to take me to pay the goddamn thing off."
No, see, John, you're missing the point. See, part of that energy that you are storing up with your solar panels go to PG&E.
I know.
All of that goes to PG&E.
They used to give you credit for it.
PG&E.
So
you do. I mean,
no.
We have solar here, and theoretically we put in enough solar to generate not only the amount of our monthly bill, but to go beyond that, get a credit at the end of the year for your excess energy. So, if everything's going right, you can actually pocket some of that extra production. That's the way it works for me, anyway.
Until PG&E pays off some sort of government person to say, "Yeah, we don't want that."
Well, let's face it, trying to get new power plants online is difficult. And now everybody that's been saying, and we've talked about this before, let's shut down all the nuclear power that's basically green power, which we were saying all along. Let's shut it all down because it's horrible. It's nuclear. And now they're going back saying, we should get more nuclear plants online, and plants that are slated to be decommissioned, like in California. They're saying, oh, wait, we got to extend that licensing now because there's no way of replacing it. So science this decade might not be science next decade, and things change, and it's just crazy. But the fact is, solar, if every house had solar on it, then we'd be pumping enough energy back to the grid to keep that going during daylight hours. The problem is there's no way of truly storing that amount of power for nighttime.
Do you know what my favorite thing, and I just thought about this, my favorite thing about green is there's always a problem with it. Like, I remember when they went from incandescents because they waste power to CFLs. Okay, CFLs were more power efficient, but you couldn't throw them away because the amount of mercury in there would start contaminating the ground.
Right.
Solar panels a thing, but solar panels are kind of icky. Lithium ion, kind of icky. So there's like all this green stuff that is good now, but we're going to pay for it later. Nuclear is the same way. It's cheap, cost-efficient energy, yet you have this shit that has a half-life of 500,000 years that you can't get rid of. I find it hilarious that it's
fluorescent tubes are kind of the same way, right? Besides the CFLs with mercury, there's other pollutants in all these things, and try going to a landfill now and take those with you. And no, we don't want that stuff. Well, how the heck do you get rid of it? Well, you got to pay extra amounts of money.
I just find it funny because it's always billed as, oh, this is going to save the environment. But if you actually read into it, none of it will. It just changes what you do to the environment. That's all it does. So instead of broadcasting a bunch of biochemicals in the air because of cars, you're going to be dumping battery acid somewhere. Or, instead of like this generating coal power plants that way, you're going to have to entomb this nuclear stuff until Jesus Christ comes back. I just find it amusing as hell. You're just changing you're just changing the problem. Yeah. It's three-card Monty.
Yeah. Well, yep. Oh, well.
It always is.
Yeah, there's always something. Hey,
Time to
now it's time.
The bombs are coming down.
Okay.
Do you want to keep up to date on the maddest of the mad at the MadTrio podcast? Check out our social media feeds on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or go to themadtrio.com.
And do me a favor, stop by our sponsor, Audacity. Use MadTrio, all caps, all one word, for 10% off your final purchase. And make sure you tell Miss Audacity herself that we sent you. The MadTrio, unfortunately, she couldn't make it this week. Maybe she'll be on next week. As you know, she always gets some great ideas for the next product from the MadTrio. So as always, thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.